Magic the Gathering just had a giant announcement about the upcoming set, Phyrexia All Will Be One. And so I'm going to make this quick video today just breaking down everything they announced so you can stay up to date. Let's jump right into this. Alright, so obviously Phyrexia All Will Be One will have a large focus on Phyrexians, and we got a couple of them spoiled that I want to break down first before we jump into anything else, including the reprinting of one Phyrexian Obliterator, who will be now entering Standard, and will probably be added to the Liliana Sheoldred Mono Black Good Stuff deck. Overall, this card's really insane. It's a 4-drop 5/5 with Trample, and whenever a source deals damage to it, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. So this thing is a beast. Most of the time it just says unblockable because if anyone's going to block this thing, they are going to be like sacrificing most of their board, and this is sure to make a splash on Standard. But it's not the only Phyrexian we got. We also got the announcement of the ELESH NORN card. Basically, it's a 5-drop white legendary creature 4/7 with vigilance that doubles all ETB abilities you control and does not allow enter the battlefield abilities of things your opponents control. This is really, really crazy. It essentially allows you to double up all your effects and stop your opponents, very similar to how previous Praetors have worked, but this one seems particularly good, especially in older formats where a lot of really good cards are stapled onto creatures. So that shuts down a lot of things in things like Commander. I don't think you'll see as much play as something like Sheoldred, where it's based around drawing cards, which is something everyone does on every turn, but I do think this is one of the more powerful ones. But overall, all of the Praetors have been very, very good, outside of something like Urbrask. Urbrask doesn't see that much play, but ELESH NORN seems really good. However, we did not just get this version of ELESH NORN, we have a lot of variants, and that's actually what we're going to talk about next. So ELESH NORN herself has a borderless manga version, a borderless concept version, a borderless Iker showcase version, a completed version, an oil slick foil version, and all of these have the potential, the Iker ones, to be this Phyrexian foil, which has these little Phyrexian marks on it that we really haven't gotten to see that well. But those are all of the version of ELESH NORN, on top of obviously the normal version that you can find in packs. They are all pretty much findable within draft, set, and collector boosters, with the exception of the oil slick cards. Those are specifically in a new type of booster called a Compleated Booster, which is only findable in the Completed Bundle, which is a new bundle that releases a month after the release of Phyrexia All Will Be One, which contains 2 mythics in this oil slick version, and then 2 of each basic land, and these basic lands look great. Speaking of basic lands, there are a couple different versions. There's the traditional basic lands that will be found in bundles, commander decks, and jumpstart product. There are the full art ones, which are findable in draft, set, and collector boosters just in the normal land slot. There's these Phyrexianized mana symbol ones, which are also found in set, collector, and draft boosters. And then there are the oil slick ones, which have this like raised foiling that looks really, really awesome. So there's just a couple variants. There are a couple notes I have to talk about some of these variants. So the Manga Series represents what if scenarios. What if everything was completed? So this means you'll not only get Phyrexians in this style, but you'll also get cards that are not completed and like a look at the characters as if they were completed. In addition, the concept art ELESH NORN is being joined by the other Praetors from the most recent Super Cycle in their concept art. And these are actually the concept art images that were shown the artists who drew the actual cards to kind of give them a picture of what they were drawing. So that's really, really cool. And it also means we are getting a reprint of those cards, and they are findable, according to this article, in draft, set, and collector boosters. So that should mean the price of these should go down, which is really, really awesome. In addition to that, we also got the spoiling of a bunch of other cards, specifically the universes within versions of the Street Fighter cards, which will be findable inside of set boosters. I'm not really going to talk much about these cards because they've been cards for a while. They just now have different names and magic-based art, which I always love seeing. Again, these will be found in the list slot of set boosters much more commonly than any other list card, which is always nice. All right, and lastly, we got a couple more spoilers that I'm going to talk about. We have Blue Sun's Twilight. It's X blue for a sorcery that lets you gain control of target creature with mana value X or less. If X is 5 or more, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Essentially, they're doing another cycle of the suns because each sun represents a Praetor. They did like Blue Sun Zenith in the past, and now we have like Blue Sun's Twilight. Overall, I'm kind of excited to see what all of them do. This seems okay. I mean, we have effects that can just like gain control of creatures permanently for less mana. It doesn't matter what their mana cost is, but this is nice in formats that are dominated by cheaper creatures, and the ability to copy it is kind of cool. I don't think it's enough, but it is, an interesting effect. People like copying, people like stealing. Next, we have Slowbot Iron Goblin. He is a legendary 3-cost red 3/3, and he lets you tap and sack an artifact and add an amount of red mana equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value, and then you can use that mana only to cast artifacts or use artifacts' abilities. Very, very interesting design. I'm excited to throw it in something like my Mishra deck, the Mishra from the commander decks of Brothers War. Really, really awesome. Lets you kind of build up mana over time, get rid of the artifacts once you've used them. Not necessarily new ground, but I don't know if we've ever had a card exactly like this, so that's kind of cool to see. Then we have Jor-Kadeen, First Gold Warden, which is red and a white for a legendary creature, human rebel 2/2. And when it attacks, it gets +X/+X, where X is the number of equipped creatures you control. So you want a lot of creatures equipped with like one thing rather than one creature equipped with a lot. And then if its power is 4 or greater, you draw a card. So again, giving red and white more access to card draw. Still only once per turn, still cares about equipment, not necessarily new ground. Now, the area where we do have new ground is Koth, Fire of Resistance. It is a 4-cost legendary Planeswalker Koth, 4 loyalty. He lets you +2 to search your library for a basic mountain card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Then he lets you -3 to deal damage to target creature equal to the number of mountains you control. And then he lets you -7 and you get an emblem with whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target. Now it itself is kind of cool. It's all about mountain tribal, which is really interesting. But what's more interesting about it is the fact that it is actually a rare, not a mythic. While this set is not going to be as big as War of the Spark was in terms of caring about Planeswalkers, there are going to be 10 of them, and we actually know what all 10 are. You can see them on screen now, and 5 of them are going to be completed. They are not revealing them at this time. They pretty much confirmed Koth is not one of the 10 to be completed, but 10 of these Planeswalkers are going to be completed within the set, and so because of that, they are not all mythics, otherwise they would hog up all the mythic slots, and there are some in rare. So that's really, really interesting. It's not to the level of War of the Spark, but it is still a lot more Planeswalkers than a normal set. Either way, guys, that was pretty much everything revealed for Phyrexia All Will Be One today. If you guys are interested in buying it, I actually have this new thing with Amazon. You can check the links down below and see all the different products. If you do that, you'll be supporting the channel when you do. Obviously, support your local game store, but if you're going to be buying things through Amazon, it helps the channel out if you use those links. Either way, guys, I will see you in the next one. Stay tuned for a video coming out either today or tomorrow where I talk a little bit about what we learned about March of the Machines, and more specifically, March of the Machines, the epilogue or the aftermath. They've changed the name a couple times. I'll see you guys in the next one.